Organize Me Radio, episode 52, EEVA Home Management Tool. I'm Naeemah Ford Goldson. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Organize Me Radio. I'm Naeemah Ford Goldson, and today's guests are the co-founders of EEVA, which is a new app that takes getting organized to a whole new level. Please welcome Jarrod Nichol and Adrienne Jung. Welcome.
Hi,
Thanks for
Naeemah.
having us.
Thanks for having us.
I am so glad that both of you are here. It's really exciting to learn about this app. So, Jarrod, what is EEVA?
Well, that's a really good question. EEVA is actually, it's a revolutionary new super app, actually, that essentially takes all of your important documents, all of those really important contacts that you have, as well as all the activities that you do in your house, and it combines everything into a centralized platform that's actually built on an artificial intelligence. So the more you use it, the more intelligent it actually gets. And in terms of organization, basically the better organized you will be. That's like the 30-second sales pitch.
I love that. Okay. And then Adrienne, you are the visionary behind this. What inspired this idea?
So, professionally, I am an operational leader. So this is what I do every day is I work in companies, mainly charities, and I organize them in a way that allows them to deliver on their mission with as few resources as possible. So this is just my bread and butter. And a couple years ago, like many millennials, I bought my first home. During the pandemic, my husband and I needed more space with our dog. And so we bought our first home, and it just struck me immediately as being an incredibly chaotic process. When we took possession of our home, they gave us a drawer full of business cards and manuals and receipts and warranties. And, we did the run through of the house, and it was all, don't forget to get the chimney swept, twice a year. And this is the guy you call for snow removal, not that guy, because, he does a bad job, but this guy. And if you mention promo code, pineapples, you get a discount. And it was just so much information to remember. And to things to do that I looked for an easy way to kind of get me organized and sorted. And there really wasn't anything on the market. It just struck me that professionally, I had 1,000,001 tools to help me with my time management and my task management and project management, but there was really nothing to help me do the same at home. Which some would argue, I would argue, is way more important to organize than my work. And so therefore EEVA was born.
Okay. And so, Jarrod, how did you get involved in EEVA?
Yes. Look at Adrienne's face, everyone, because this is an interesting story. So
We don't agree on the story.
Adrienne says that we went for breakfast, and we've known each other from a previous job, and we've kept in touch for like years. And so we were just having a breakfast, and we were, updating each other on life, essentially. And this is where the story diverges here. So Adrienne says, she was like, oh, I was talking about a co-founder, and I needed a co-founder, and just, like you're the strategy guy, so you'd be a natural fit. I don't remember that at all. I remember her telling me that she had a co-founder, didn't really wasn't working out so great. And she was looking, but never said anything at all to me. And I was like, this is a really interesting concept, because when she pitched it to me as it was really designed to help you sort of manage your home. And the truth is, in my background's all in change management and process improvement. And so when she originally showed me sort of the really early sort of screens, if you will, or prototype screens, I was just like, wow, you're on to something here. Because unlike the workplace, what EEVA sort of represents is that really easy to use sort of app that you're all used to. So your Shazams, your Spotify's, your Apple Music, stuff that you can do with just a few taps, and you can get whatever you want. Whereas everything that Adrienne's talking about, all this workplace organization stuff, you need like a PhD to really understand some of these things. They're like highly complex. But that original early prototype that she showed me, I was like, there's so much more we could do with this. I'm like, what about if we did this and this and that and everything else? And so eventually, I think it was, I don't know, the day later or whatever, I approached her and was like, well, if you need a co-founder, I'm right here. But yeah, we debate that often.
Jarrod really he took my idea and he really scaled it up and brought it to the next level. And he's been an integral part of how we've been able to kind of get as big as we are.
So then, Adrienne, what's your background when it comes to organization? You mentioned that you're on the operations side of in the corporate world.
So my specialty professionally is really going into organizations, looking at everything that how they are built, and restructuring them to be as efficient as possible with as few resources as possible, which is why I work a lot in the nonprofit space and tech startup. Both groups have very limited resources. And so right away, I have a lot of years of experience with, building structures or building mechanisms internally that can kind of grow as you grow. And that can get you the information that you need to be able to make the decisions that you have to make, very quickly. And that has, as it turns out, translated very well to my professional life. I organize all the stuff at home. I am the EVA at home, and therefore I'm trying to get the world to benefit from it.
Okay, so you're the brains behind the operation here.
I'm the brains. Most of the brains.
Got it. So Jarrod, tell us, how does EVA work? Is it user-friendly?
No, not at all. It's terrible. It's just no, of course. So, okay. So one of the number one things that your listeners and obviously I think even us, even myself, when I first heard about this in like V1, as I call it, was very manual. Okay. So you had to manually upload a lot of information, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? So for every Adrienne out there who is hyper organized, and like, I'll be honest, I am also the EVA in my relationship. But there is a lot of other folks that won't do that, right? Like that they'll just keep that one drawer that's full of like different records, and they'll go through and be like, oh yeah, here, that's the plumber pineapple you said, right? Yeah, that's right. That's what I got to do. So what we're doing a little bit different, at least in the MVP stage, which is the minimum viable product, what we're doing is essentially doing a lot of integration. So we're connecting with a lot of the different applications that you already have. So like think of like Google Drives and those sorts of things. We're going to pull a lot of the data that you are already storing on multiple platforms, services, what have you, and sort of taking that all into EVA. The interface that we have, you can actually see it. We'll give some more details on that. But it's really, really, really simple. There's essentially 3 different categories. So we go from activities. Think of that like kind of like a schedule-ish. But the big difference is that if you have a couch potato in your family, you can actually assign activities, which is really cool, because in a lot of the conversations that we've had with different clients, they'll say their significant other, I won't say husband or wife, they'll just say their significant other doesn't really help that much with scheduling this or taking care of that. And the reason why, the number one reason why is, well, they don't know how. Like they just don't have access to the information, or it's just, it's easier if I just do it myself. But with EVA, if I were to assign someone, they get all that background data that's been pulled from all these different sources. So that excuse disappears. Like you can take care of the gardener,
Everybody has access to the same information.
That's it. And so you have that. So you have like that planner, that activity sort of schedule component. And then you also have what we call the vault. And that's where we actually store all of this different information. And it's all super, super simple. So you can go from like kitchen, for example, and see like your fridge, all your different appliances. And then from in there, you tag all the relevant information. And contact information, the idea again is pulling from the different sources you have, but it's really focused on household management. And because we're building this with an artificial intelligence, it gets pretty cool because you'll be able to, and I don't want to spoil this for one of Adrienne's likely going to talk about this later on. Well, let's just say that if your fridge broke, at one point, EEVA would be able to not only tell you if the warranty, still in effect or if it's gone, but it'll actually be able to help you source and secure tradespeople in order to fix the fridge. And it can do it all with just a single tap of your finger.
Okay. So it sounds like, though, there might be quite a bit of work on the front end. And you know what? I think this sounds great. I think I could use this because my husband, oh my gosh, let me tell you, I don't know how many times I just do it because it takes so much work to tell him how to do it or to let him know what my expectations are. But on the front end, when you're setting it up, is there a lot of work that goes into it, Adrienne?
We're not going to be able necessarily to get past that initial hurdle of if you've got, paperwork, if you've got data, you have to be able to input it into the app in some way. We're building these integrations so that it's pulling from as many apps as possible. But if you're keeping your warranties in your filing cabinet, it's paper warranties, it's stuff like that, you're not necessarily going to have a choice but to manually input it in, whether that's a picture or you're manually kind of entering the dates and all of that. And the best advice I can give for that is start as soon as possible. Digitizing is the way that we have to move forward. And so the earlier you start, the less of a big project it's going to be. So even if you don't have EEVA today, go through your filing cabinets and start scanning those things, start digitizing everything, and it'll make your life that much easier in the future.
Yeah, I was just going to add that we are looking at photo recognition as well. So if I say Shazam, everyone knows what that is, right? It's like, ooh, there's a good song here, tap a button and that's it, right? We're trying to do the exact same sort of thing a little bit later on, where, for example, like with your fridge, you just be able to open the door, take a picture of the serial and model, and it'll take care of everything for you. It'll automatically pull all of that relevant information. That's a little further out right now. But that's definitely where we're going, because we realize that we need to make this as user-friendly as possible in order for people to get the most out of the app.
Okay. So this seems like it would be a great app to use for professional organizers and experts in the organizing industry. Adrienne, how could an organizer best utilize this? I know there are so many organizers who offer move management, and I feel like this would be something great that they can add on top of that.
Yes, absolutely. This is a great complement to organizing your house. Basically, what EEVA does is it organizes your information in the same way that professional organizers organize your closet or your pantry, right? So we're taking what they do, but in the digital version. So imagine that feeling of walking into your pantry. It's just been beautifully organized. Everything's, organized, labeled, you can see everything. Everything's easy to use. That's what we're going for, but for your online and digital information and presence. So EEVA's bringing kind of the organization, your life organization to the 21st century, which is why we say it goes beyond just organization, right? This is home management. You're taking the information and you're doing something with it. So the organizers should definitely be considering adding this layer, because organizing your house is one thing, but that's just the physical aspect. Imagine being able to ask down the line, hey, EEVA, where did I put my Christmas tree? Because you can't remember where. Well, then EEVA would be able to tell you, assuming that you logged it when you organized your house. It'll be able to tell you, oh, you put it in the garage 3 years ago, so it's probably way back in the where you can't see it. So definitely within the right space. We're bringing that home organization to the 21st century and really doing something incredible with it.
This is such good information. Jarrod, can you share a client or customer success story?
Oh, thousands. No, at this particular point of where we are with the development of EEVA, we don't have the final product at this time, but we're doing a lot of customer testing. And that's something that I would encourage everybody who's listening, if you want to get your hands on this and play around with it, we can make that happen. And right now, the feedback's just been overwhelmingly positive. Like, I mean, to be fair, we are targeting the Adriens and the Jarrods. So, we're targeting people who are already generally organized to begin with. But again, right now, the feedback has just been tremendously positive. Everyone that we speak to, from investors to potential clients, they all say the same thing. They're like, you guys are on to something with this. And it's always like about the execution, right? They're like, the idea is rock solid, but how are you going to execute it? And right now, I think the biggest success story we've had is that we're getting so much feedback from various folks. And if anyone does want to try this out, I guess this is my good place to just pitch this one line. Just go to www.eeva.ai and you can try out the sort of prototype that we're working on right now.
So Adrienne, could this app go hand in hand with like a Siri, Google, Alexa?
Yes, initially, so to make everybody's lives easier, we are planning on integrating or adding. You said Alexa, and my Alexa woke up. Yes, so we are planning on integrating with Alexa, Google, and Siri down the line. That's a bit more of a complex integration than just the default app integrations, but it's a key part of our roadmap to be able to make lives easier, to make this easier for people. So it's definitely in the plans.
And I just want to add something important to this, because I'm sure some folks that are listening are concerned about privacy and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Our business model is not to sell your data. We are not those people. So if you start talking about, buying a home, EEVA is not suddenly going to start showing you all these advertisements of homes. We're trying to remove the creep factor as much as humanly possible with this.
Okay. So, Jarrod, earlier you mentioned that, EVA is like for organized people, basically, like for Adrienne, for you, for me. However, I wonder, how would it work for someone who maybe is a single person, or two people that live in a household and neither of them are organized? Who is your client? I know it's for the organized person, but will it work for the disorganized person? What about people that are chronically disorganized?
Absolutely. So we've been joking around by this, and it's like, who's your your client? It's Sarah. So Sarah is our generic term for essentially what we're targeting at launch. Is we're targeting professional millennial homeowners, typically with families. That's the niche that we want to start with. Notice I didn't say organized, just that particular niche. But because we're really focusing on those integrations and that user-friendly interface, which everyone can see, it kind of helps you become organized, because we have a detailed walkthrough that will sort of, think of it like a tutorial that will slowly ease people into this. So we don't expect you to suddenly, upload hundreds of thousands of documents and spend hours and hours doing this. No, like, we're going to start with some of the big ticket items right away, some of the appliance stuff, some of, maybe your roof, like things like that. And then as we develop and it gets better and better and better, we're going to start to expand that more and more. We're also looking at various folks who have multiple properties. So what if you're on Airbnb? Right now, Airbnb can help you out in certain regards, but not for everything. And this is where EEVA could be a wonderful complement to those folks. What about condo and homeowner associations, right? Where you have a lot of different units, but there's nothing really consolidating any of this information. With EEVA, you'd now have that particular solution.
Yeah. And even more beyond that. So I myself, for example, I help my parents manage a property. And so EEVA is helping with that. So a lot of adults nowadays are helping their elderly parents or grandparents manage their own property. And EEVA allows you to store all of that information in a way that you can track it for more than one home, which is coming especially in handy for things like helping the elderly.
So, Adrienne, how will this app improve or help change lives?
I mean, we've already talked about so many benefits, right? There's going to be time savings already. And initially, yes, there will be a bit of an investment of time to input the information in, but then the more you use it and the more information you put into it, the more EVA is going to learn and is going to make your life easier. You won't have to spend hours looking for certain documents or trying to remember when something happened or what's the history when it comes to a certain appliance or a home. Less stress because you know where everything is. It doesn't live within a single person's head. It's available to the entire family. And one that's of particular importance to me is we're really trying to reduce that mental load for women. So studies have shown women take on the burden of the mental load for managing, the home and the people within it. And this is a tool that's geared towards helping women reduce that mental load and ease that stress and increase their energy and time that they get to spend hopefully with their families.
I love that. I was just having a conversation with my husband the other day about women and emotional labor. One of
Mm-hmm.
my organizing colleagues wrote a book about women and emotional labor, Dr. Regina Lark. And I was looking at it and I'm like, she is really right about these things. It's like the emotional labor is the stuff that, mostly women think about that, maybe our husbands, partners, other family members don't have to. So I was just a little
Yes.
overwhelmed this weekend, and I was letting him know, we have a fifth grader, so this is his last year of
Oof.
elementary school, So,
Yeah.
I had to order his yearbook. I had to put, they do those little ads, those like patron ads that you can put in the yearbook. I have to do
Yes.
that. I have to send pictures into the yearbook. Valentine's Day is tomorrow. We have to get the Valentines together. So
Yes.
that just really like resonated with me when you said that about, women taking on the load and,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully this can really assist with that.
And that's really why we're building it off of using an AI kind of component to it, right? So this time, if you had EVA this year, this time next year, a few weeks ago, EVA would have been like, hey, last year you had to send yearbook pictures in a couple weeks. Is that still a thing? And do you want me to, assign it to your husband, for example, so you don't have to take care of it? Or the traditional example we use is summer camp. Summer camp registration is in February. It's crazy. You have to think that far ahead of time. So EVA is going to be there to remind you, hey, summer camp registration is coming up. Have you thought about it? And what do we need to do here? So it's removing a step of that burden of having to remember so many things, and all of the history stuff is logged there. So you have that historical information and data that you can lean on going forward.
Okay, sign me up. I'm sold. I love it.
Me too.
So, in the spirit of Organize Me Radio, I love to ask every guest, what are your favorite organizing products? We'll start with you, Jarrod.
Okay, well, one that I lived my whole life by. There's actually two. In terms of specific tools, I am a huge fan of anything Kanban. So Kanban is basically, if you don't know, for anyone who's listening, it's anything. They're basically like, think of it like a series of columns where it's just saying like what's in progress, what's complete, when you have to do it, just simple like that. Nothing fancy. And I combine that with what Adrienne will laugh at with is my whiteboard. So I am a whiteboard fanatic. It's how I organize every aspect of my life. And when I combine these two things together, it allows me to keep track of like all the different things that I have to work on, both at home, at the office, and everywhere.
Adrienne, what about you?
So I have two, and it's part of a process. So the first one is my passion planner. I think many people in the organization space will know what that is. I live by this, so on a weekly basis. And so this might surprise people because it is paper, but to me, that's part of the process where I think better on paper. And as I'm making lists and stuff like that, it's really important for me to write everything down on paper. And then whatever ends up in my passion planner will usually make its way into some kind of software down the line. So in the immediate, I put it in the passion planner. And then at the end of the week, perhaps I'll log it into all of the spreadsheets and EVA and all of that I've concocted. So I have my own ecosystem of software that I use for my home organization. And so those are the two kind of components, the paper with the passion planner and the ecosystem of softwares that really has made my life a whole lot easier.
Okay. I love all those suggestions. Now, can you both tell me what is your greatest achievement in business or with EVA? And Adrienne, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go with a personal one here. I mean, EVA is one of my biggest accomplishments so far. So, but aside from that, last year I won an award for greatest contribution to workplace mental health. And that's just something I'm incredibly proud of personally. And so it's in my professional life. I think it's one thing to be recognized for the work that you do in the industry and kind of professionally, but to know that you've had a significant impact on the people that you're working with, that was just incredibly validating for me. So that's the one I'm most proud of.
Congratulations on that. We know mental health is so important. And I feel like, as the years are going by, people are realizing just how important it really is and the things that you can do to take the load off. So kudos to you on that one.
Thank you. Thanks.
Jarrod, what about you?
Well, I'll go a different route. I don't want to talk about myself. So I'll talk about, I'm just teasing you, Adrienne. I'll talk about EVA. Honestly, right now with EVA, I was shocked about like just how many people have been resonating with it. So we got featured in Forbes. So that blew my mind, just the fact that like Forbes showed interest in it. And then from there, we've been taking part in like a lot of different like competitions and things like that. And pretty much up to this point, every single thing that we've applied to, we've gotten into, and we're making really, really good progress of getting into like, different tiers. Like they have like semifinals, finals, and things like that. And I'm just super, super proud of everything that we've done up to this point. It's been an amazing, amazing journey.
Yeah, really has.
That is so amazing and so fun to learn a little bit more about EVA. And I can't wait to see what comes of this. I can't wait for your official launch of EVA. You'll have to keep us updated and let us know. But can you tell everyone how they can find out more information about you both and about EVA?
Go on our website. Yeah. EEVA.ai. So EEVA.ai. You can keep getting our updates by signing up for our newsletter. So we send out updates occasionally. And that's the group that also gets early access to see what it is that we're building. And we'll have the chance to be the first beta users. So definitely sign up if this sounds like something of interest to you.
If someone wants to directly get in contact with us, they can reach us at hello@eeva.ai.
And please do reach out. So we are still in the process of building this. And so your listeners have a real opportunity to kind of contribute to what it is that we're building. If they have thoughts or experiences or ideas, we are all ears.
I love it. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you all for joining us. Be sure to tune in next time for an all-new episode.